Okay, let's see what LazyPeon has to say. I'm sure he's
That's
going to
right, but
be way more positive about it. Because I think he generally doesn't talk shit about MMOs, or he doesn't say bad things about MMOs, at least not to the same degree that other people do. And I'm a very cynical bastard. So let's see someone who's got like more optimism. Let's see what they've got to say about it.
New World is an MMORPG that's had an interesting lifespan so far. During the beta phase, the red flags were obvious. The game released in September 2020.
Aha! Okay, so it did say includes paid promotion. Now the thing to be oh, holy shit. Tech support, thanks for subscribing.
21, and initially at launch was insanely fun until about level 30 or so, then it just fell off a cliff, with many people discovering game-breaking bugs, turning New World into a meme goldmine overnight. The devs didn't give up though. They went away and started addressing issues one by one, leading to the game having a major resurgence in player numbers for its first major update,
Okay. I will give New World this, right? The devs are passionate enough that they keep coming back and fucking they keep going at it. They could have given up, they could have taken the money and run. They could have unreleased the game like Amazon Games did with that one shooter game. I forget its name right now. But these devs keep coming back, and I think so. I pointed this out in my Death of New World video. I think the problem that New World was facing was not that you didn't have a bunch of passionate devs. It was the fact that it doesn't matter how many passionate devs you have. It doesn't matter how much you pay them. If your management structure is shit, if the people controlling everything have no fucking idea what they're doing, it's going to ruin the game non-stop. But also with New World here, it was just under 1 million players at peak, and its resurgence was to, as he said, as he points out here, 130-something thousand, which is 10% of its peak. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's not enough because it didn't hold those numbers. I love doing this every now and then, so let's go look at the population count right now. Let's see what the population counts are looking like. So currently, across all worlds, across every single world in New World currently, there are only 16,000 players playing, which means that the Brimstone Sands patch was not enough to bring new players to the game. Now, what I'm interested to actually see here, I know I'm talking a lot, but this is very interesting to me, is I wonder if LazyPeon will point out the fact that the Brimstone Sands patch came with the New World event thing, where a whole bunch of streamers were paid to play the game, which then brings their community into the game. And then as soon as those streamers were done playing the game, their communities and them just vanished. They just evaporated into thin air, which also explains why they got that number to 130-something thousand players during the Brimstone Sands patch. That's what I'm curious to find out. I'm wondering if he's going to mention it.
Stone Sands in October 2022. Since then, New World has been rather quiet.
Not gonna mention it.
Over the course of the past year, it's been losing players again month on month, which is mainly due to no new big content, other MMO releases, and players just running out of stuff to do. Recently though, New World has announced its first real expansion, Rise of the Angry Earth, which will bring massive fundamental changes to the game, increase the level and gear score cap, as well as finally add mounts to the game.
Okay, so Benji pointed this out, right? Mounts, that's fine. Wonderful, great. The issue with the gear score cap changing is that this now invalidates hundreds of hours of effort and energy that you've now put in to attaining certain gear sets, because they are now fully invalidated, or they need to now rely on people grinding out more umbral shards in order to continually increase their level. Right? This is one of the big concerns with this, is it invalidates a lot of players, but at the same time, I think they're forced into the situation where they have to do this, because otherwise people are like, well, I'm still at max level. All my gear's maxed out, so there's no point in coming into this game. So I think they're kind of stuck in that situation. They should pay you to play New World, and then you could drag your community to the game. Yeah, you, me, and 12 other people. You know what? Actually, Rufus, you saying that, if there are 12 people who join me in playing New World, that's a substantial number of people to inhabit a New World server. Because if we go and look at the server, like the server size, right? We've got some servers that are sitting at 55 people. If we all joined, like, Suck Me Off here, or one of these lower servers, we could probably dominate the entire server. That's a 12,000% increase. God damn. Oh, that's fucking horrifying. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. That's bad. But I'm very curious to see, after this expansion comes out, when it releases, when it's out, is this enough to bring people back to New World? And more importantly, because we all know how this works in MMOs, people... Fucking Fast and Furious is happening outside my house here. I'm curious to see not just how many people it brings back, but a month after the expansion release, one whole month, does the player count maintain? Or does it just go back to where it was at 16,000 players about?
In this video, I'm going to discuss everything you need to know about the new... Let's jump into the game now in its current state to prepare my character for the new content, as well as see what other cool changes have been added to the game over the past year. But first, today's sponsor, Dragon Raja. Dragon Raja is an anime-inspired MMORPG
so he wasn't sponsored by New World.
Unreal Engine 4 that's available to play cross-platform on Android, iOS, and PC. Dragon Raja's just released a new patch including the all-new warrior assassin class, Yasai, a class inspired by Japanese ninjas, with a large folding fan as the main melee weapon and the kunai as the long-range weapon. And if the ninja playstyle isn't enough for you, then there's 13 other classes to choose from.
God, I wish I hope. Like, look, if one day, by some fucking miracle, my channel takes off to the point where I can make it like my main source of income and like my primary job, I hope and I pray to God that I don't have to do these ads. Because these ads, this looks like shit. These like mobile game kind of things, like I don't know if I can bring myself to like shill some mobile piece of trash on people who are watching my content. Like, I get he has to do it because it's his job and stuff, but it's really fucking difficult for me to feel like I can justify doing this. I saw LazyPeon's appearance. Let me tell you, this man's voice does not fit him. It doesn't. It doesn't fit him. He's actually super fit. He's actually in fantastic shape.
Whether you want to wreak havoc from range with the Visioneer class, or ride straight into the action with the very unique Skateboarder class, Dragon Raja has done a great job at designing a variety of classes for different playstyles. There's also a new PvP hide and seek mode available, where players disguise themselves as different items and try not to get caught by the enemy team. Dragon Raja also features very in-depth character customization that doesn't just allow physical and wardrobe changes, but also lets you define your character's personality and their responses to their surroundings. With the new update, there's tons of rewards and limited time items up for grabs for new and returning players. There's even more rewards and events waiting for you by joining the official communities linked below. So download Dragon Raja using the link in the description and join in on the action today. Download now. So the last time I played New World was during the PTR for the Brimstone Sands expansion. I didn't actually play the game when the expansion fully launched, because my main server was dead due to everyone playing Fresh Start, and
yeah, everyone played Fresh Start because everyone was involved in the event. I know LazyPeon wasn't part of the event. I don't know if that was by choice, or whether they didn't give him opportunity to be a part of it, but I don't think he would want to be. I'm pretty sure he would refuse it. But yeah, one of the problems with the fresh start servers was that people jumped on all the fresh start servers, blasted their way to level 60. I know because I did the same thing. And then as soon as they were done, they just left. Who gives a fuck? Do the ad for said game, then next video you make a video about how dog water. Oh my, that's actually brilliant. It's just like, here's an ad for a game. Next video is like, this game is shit. Oh fuck, brands would never want to work with me again, Rufus. And that actually might be ingenious to make sure that my inbox isn't flooded with these mobile game pieces of shit. That's actually brilliant. That's fucking, oh, that's so big brain. I might actually just do that just to be a shit poster on that.
Really didn't want to start again. I log into the game and I immediately see people spamming X egg in the chat. So I did the same thing and got invited to a 20-player raid group. If you played more than a year ago, you'd know that you couldn't make raid groups in New World previously.
Yeah, I didn't play this one. This is one of the events. One of the like seasonal events.
The max group size was 5 players, so straight away I was surprised and happy with this change. We basically went around the map in this group and did some seasonal daily event called the Siege of Sulphur, where you protect eggs from waves of mobs and get good rewards. Pretty cool, and I'm a fan of any content that brings players together in an MMO. Basically, within minutes of logging in, I was in a massive group of players doing massively multiplayer things. I like that. Next, I wanted to finish off getting all weapon masteries to level 20 to prepare for the new expansion. I only needed to level the greatsword and blunderbuss.
That farming spot that I showed you so long ago, Ilgi, it still works. It's still 100% one of the best spots to farm.
So I looked online for the best strat, and the current best method is to do this repeatable Thorpe events at this area in Great Cleave. It was here where I stumbled upon another new addition to New...
The Thorpe one's not bad, but the big problem with it is that everyone's stacking up on it there. You're better off going somewhere where there's not a bunch of people stealing the XP from your mastery while you're doing it. It's probably even better now since there's 3 people playing. Dude, you know, I'd come to think about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Thorpe event is actually the one to go to now because, like you said, there's only 3 people playing.
New World. Augments, which are basically boosters that you can buy off the cash shop. The most significant ones, in my opinion, are the weapon...
People want to tell me that New World isn't pay to win when you can buy weapon XP boosters, which means you are winning back your time from the game by paying real money. You are paying to win your time back. The game is now pay to win. Minorly pay to win, but still pay to win.
Weapon XP and gathering XP boosters, which basically double your XP. You've also got season XP and territory standing boosters, which do a similar thing, and a proficiency booster which increases your gathering yield by 10%. If these
yeah, that's just flat pay to win.
Boosters were in the game at launch, everyone would be complaining that they were pay to win, and
they're still pay to win. They're still pay to win. It doesn't matter when the game launched, they're still pay to win because you are winning back your time versus someone who never uses them. Doesn't matter if it's at the beginning of the game or now. It's still pay to win.
Rightly so. I guess the game's been out long enough at this point that most people have capped gathering and weapon masteries anyway, so it's not a big deal. Either way, I popped.
You see that this is something I hate. Is like, I know I have a very hard stance on pay to win, but I really hate these guys who are like, well, the game's not fresh right now, so it's okay that they put in all these systems. It's definitely, sorry, that was in the back of my throat. Jeff Bezos's cock tastes so good. All this, okay, he came. let me get back to what I was saying. Let me just use that as moisturizer. It's definitely not pay to win now that the game is a few years old. No, it's fucking pay to win, dude. It's pay to win. It doesn't matter when it was released, because if you are playing a character that didn't level those systems and you start using the XP boosters, you are winning back the time that you spend playing the game versus someone who never had that opportunity when the game released. Still pay to win. I'm taking that out of context and making it into a short. Please, God, don't.
The weapon XP booster and got both weapons to 20 mastery super fast at the Thorpe spot. Another nice change, if you hold Control plus C and left click.
That's I'm telling you now, Ilgi, though, if you make that into a short, the comments will be fucking filled with people sucking Amazon's cock, fucking gobbling their knob, desperately saying that it's not pay to win when it is.
You can spam click to very quickly salvage all of your crap. You'll be doing this a lot during your time playing New World. The next amazing change to the game since the last time I played is the addition of multiple gear sets loadouts.
Gear sets are fantastic. You can unlock additional gear sets, as you can see at the bottom here, by buying more. Which means if you don't buy a gear set, right, you are now losing out more time because you have to spend more time organizing your gear in the gear set panels. But if you have all the gear sets, you spend less time organizing your gear. And therefore, you are losing out and you are not winning back your time from the game. Again, more pay to win. You must have experience. No, yeah, you know what? I would say I don't have experience. But my government fucks me every day with taxes, so, you know. Yes, it should have been in the game from the beginning as a fundamental feature. Absolutely, Dunisif. 100% agree. This shit should have been there day one. Storage, gear set, auto salvaging, batch salvaging, different weapon builds that you could switch out to, right? So, like, different weapon builds for the same weapon that you could switch out to. There's a whole bunch of shit that just should have been in there that isn't.
This was one of the most requested features to be added since launch, and I'm happy to say it actually works very well except for one caveat. The thing I love about New World's gear set system is storing gear in these templates actually removes it from your inventory, which is nice because if you've got 3 to 4 different gear sets, your bags would...
I think that's good. I think that's good that it's not in the inventory. I think that it's in a separate window is fantastic because then you're not lugging around a bunch of fucking gear and you're just overburdened all the time.
Be an absolute mess otherwise. The caveat here is that if you want more than 2 gear set storage, you need to buy it off the cash shop for roughly $5. I started working my way through the Brimstone Sands MSQ and realised I was earning Season XP, basically a battle pass you can work through which gives various rewards.
I don't want anyone to ever fucking tell me that this game is not pay to win when there is a season battle pass for different cosmetics and winning in a game in an MMO is looking better than other people. I don't want people to tell me that this game is not pay to win when there are weapon and gathering XP things that you have to pay for. I don't want people telling me that this game is not pay to win when there are multiple gear sets that you can buy, that you need to buy extra slots for, or for the store. Is this understandable to some degree that this is a live service game and they need to find a way to pay the bills? Sure. But do not fucking sit here and tell me this game is not pay to win when there's a whole season fucking pass sitting here. And to entice you, to manipulate you into going for the paid version. They give you a season pass that's free and a season pass that's paid. That way you can see all the rewards you're not fucking getting by not giving them money.
rewards such as furniture, skins, gypsum, currency, and so on. Your typical battle pass, love it or hate it, it is what it is. At least it gives players at endgame something to work through once they've completed everything else, I guess.
And if it's giving you gypsum, that is direct pay to win.
As I was questing through Brimstone Sands, there were a few things going through my mind. Number 1, the greatsword feels way more fun and better designed than every other weapon in the game. Number 2, visually the game is still one of the best looking MMOs out, and the sound effects are best in genre. And 3, the general movement in New World feels so fucking scuffed at times that the game still feels like it's in alpha in some places.
Yeah, the movement and the bumping especially from alligators, is pretty fucking bad. I agree with him on all points there. I would say, yeah, the greatsword feels way better to use than any other weapon. But yeah, the movement is still scuffed, especially if you're fighting an alligator, because there's no grit mechanic. There's no mechanic where if you're wearing heavier gear, you don't get staggered, right? It's just everyone gets fucking staggered, and it's ridiculous. There's no, I'm sacrificing mobility for stability. There's none of that.
Like, you still can't swim in New World. Your attacks will very frequently just not register when hitting mobs. Relentless Rush with the Greatsword is a great example of this. It's a double hit ability where 50% of the time only one hit will register.
I don't know, Peon, that sounds like a skill issue.
Any form of slightly elevated terrain in a combat area will make your character desync.
You also can't swim, by the way. You still can't swim in New World.
And the actual running animation in this game feels so scuffed to me. Like, the run animation is faster than the speed you actually run. I don't know what it is, but it just looks off. Also, when you log into the game after playing any other third-person RPG, you just feel like New World should have a sprint, but it doesn't. I kinda wish the game did have a sprint, to be honest, but right now my biggest issues with New World is...
Yeah, there's a sprint though. You gotta sprint into the cash shop to buy the season pass.
Definitely with the movement, inconsistent combat, desync, and certain animations. I continued questing through the Brimstone Sands, eventually fully completing
I remember this puzzle. Fuck the goats in this puzzle.
every quest in the zone,
Not as in have sex with the goats, but there's a goat somewhere up here that knocks you the fuck down. Fuck that goat.
including the side quests. And I have to say, when it comes to questing, New World has come a very long way. This is a game that was notoriously dog shit for questing back at launch. Every quest was go to this POI, loot crates, get items.
You see those goats up there? You see them? Fucking pieces of shit. And you know what the worst part is? If you hit them, or you hit them with a ranged attack, they're invincible because they can't reach you. And if they can't reach you, then they don't take damage as far as I'm aware. I remember I tried to kill one of them by standing away from them and then killing them, and they just took no damage.
Run halfway across the map and repeat. But now it's much more varied. There's some actual story and narrative interwoven into it.
Oh shit,
puzzles.
Okay, the goat died, so maybe I just experienced, so this goat died when he hit it with the bow and arrow.
But now it's much more varied. There's some actual story and narrative interwoven into it.
So yeah, that goat died, so maybe I was just experiencing desync when I was doing this.
There's puzzles, climbing quests, more varied enemies, quest rewards are actually decent now. The difference is night and day from launch, and I actually consider New World's questing to be...
The difference is not night and day. The difference is that the fundamentals of it were good, and they've just done a mildly better job at developing on good fundamentals. But every quest is going to be the same thing of you are going to go to an area, you are going to kill something, and you're going to come back. There are very few rare occasions where the story feels really, really well integrated into what you're doing.
And I think in terms of visuals, they're some of the most epic looking dungeons in the MMO genre. I spent some time sorting through all my storage and selling stuff to free up some space for the new expansion. If you haven't played since launch, storage in New World is all connected now rather than local to each town, which means storage management...
This I think is actually a weak point of New World right here. Is the fact that your storage, you need to flip through each individual tab instead of it being all automatically just one storage shed with different filters for like gear, resources, leatherworking, stuff like that. I feel like this is actually a very high weak point, is that you need to click through each one because you're like, fuck, did I check this tab? Oh, fuck, I don't know if I checked this place. Maybe it was in the Windsward storage, and you're like going back and forth trying to figure it out, especially when you're crafting.
Is much less of a pain in the ass nowadays. Bags and tools now go up to legendary 600 gear score and will likely go higher for the new expansion, so I replaced all of my blues with legendaries, got a full set of instruments, made a gear set for healer, strength, dex and mage, then checked out another highly requested feature that's finally been added to New World. A full transmog system comparable to games like Guild Wars 2 and World of Warcraft, where you unlock the appearance of all dropped gear. There is one caveat to this though, because of course there fucking is. Basically, to actually transmog gear you need transmog tokens, which can be bought.
And guess where you get your transmog tokens, boys? In the fucking cash shop. Get fucked. Oh, eat shit. There you go.
Off the cash shop. 5 tokens costs like $10, so if you're constantly changing your outfit, it's not cheap. Just to clarify, once you've unlocked something once, you don't need to spend more money to reapply it again. It is permanently unlocked for you to use as a skin at any time, but for additional skins you'll need more tokens. Something that instantly pissed me off.
I'm gonna have to spend some time going back into New World, reinstalling it on my PC, and counting how much money you have to spend to unlock all these tokens. Like to unlock all the transmog. Because I bet it's something fucking egregious, like $2,000 or something.
Of this system is that the preview window to actually view your appearance is dog shit, and depending on the time of day, like nighttime for example, you can't actually see the colours properly, which is annoying because you definitely want to get a good look at how your character will look before committing to spending money. AGS, please improve the transmog character preview window. After that I solo queued some 3v3 PvP arena, and
this is the best part of New World, by the way, is the arenas. 100%. Once you hit endgame, once you've experienced all the dungeons, once you've done the quest lines you want, once you've got the gear you want, this is where you're going to end up, is just the 3v3 arenas. Because you're not going to end up in wars unless you're part of a big guild or a big company where you have to be online at certain times a day. You have to suck the toes of some guy who's in control of everything. The coordination of that is horrible for wars. So if you're just the guy who just wants to log in every second week and play some New World and chill the fuck out, this is where you're going to be, is the 3v3 arenas and nowhere else.
And despite never doing it before, was surprisingly less tryhard and more fun than I expected. I'm glad I was able to just solo queue this rather than manually find other players, otherwise I probably wouldn't have bothered. It was quite enjoyable and rewarding enough that I'd definitely play it again. I spent a bit of time leveling up my music skill, which seems to have had the
music's pretty good as well.
Experience per level heavily reduced since the last time I played the game. And finally, I took on a seasonal 10-player boss, which wasn't overly difficult, but it was fun because the rewards were good. The boss had a few mechanics, and it was easy to join a group by just Xing up in recruitment chat. It seems like New World's actually making a bit of a push to more traditional MMO-style raid content, as aside from the 10-player seasonal raid boss, there's also a 20-player instanced sandworm raid boss, that as of making this video is apparently...
This is the big draw, this one. It's apparently incredibly fucking difficult. I haven't fought this thing.
The hardest boss in the game. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to do it yet as I can't find a group, but it looks super cool regardless. So next, let's discuss all of the info you need to know about New World's new upcoming expansion, Rise of the Angry Earth. First of all, this expansion will release on October 3rd alongside Season 3, and will be a paid
$70 game. $70 game for what it should have been at launch. There you go. There it is. This is a $70 game just like Diablo 4. And you know what the fucked up part is? If New World launched with this expansion as part of it, and this game was $70, it would probably be worth the $70. But the fact that you've had to wait this long to get to this point is fucked up.
Expansion, costing $29.99. New players will be able to buy the base game plus the expansion in a bundle for $69.99. This expansion comes with a new zone. Remember First Light, the zone south of Windswood? Yeah, that zone no longer exists. It's fallen to the Angry Earth and will be transformed to the Elysian Wilds.
Fallen to the Angry Earth basically means no one was going to First Light, no one was using First Light. It had the lowest population counts, and they needed to do something with the zone instead of developing a new giant zone, which I think they should have done. And I think the entire problem with this expansion is that it doesn't address the fundamental problem that New World has, where it doesn't fix the server population problems.
Completely unrecognizable from the place it was before. Mounts are finally being added to New World and will come with a new trade skill called Riding, which you'll be able to level up for upgrades to speed, buffs and higher tier mount consumables. Mounts will come in the form of horses, direwolves and lions initially, with more likely to be added over time.
Oof, that's pretty bad movement on the lion there, that looks really bad.
You'll be able to name your mount and also deck it out with customizable equipment, which will undoubtedly be sold on the cash shop. A new weapon will be added to the game in the form of the flail, which can be used either one-handed.
Wait, you got New World for 50 euros. I thought it was 40 euros in Europe, but maybe I'm wrong. Because I know in the US it was a $40 game. So you're telling me this expansion should include 60% of the full game in content to match its price? I doubt it does. Yeah, I doubt that it matches what it should. I still think it's a good step forward. I think adding all of this is wonderful and great and shit, but it still doesn't address the issue of requiring larger server population sizes, or having just a gigantic New World mega server. But the problem with that is now they don't have the players to justify a mega server, so they won't get their mega server from Amazon or from AWS. But I think that's the big thing that makes people play this game as a solo thing, not want to group up, not want to form a part of a company, none of that. Through this whole video that LazyPeon's been talking, he has not spoken about being part of a company or anything like that, or any of the multiplayer aside from doing some instanced raids. Right? Keep that in mind. There's the massively multiplayer part of it. The multiplayer part is still missing from this. This is still far more of a solo experience than anything else.
Or with a shield, the flail scales with strength and focus, and has abilities that can debuff enemies and absorb ally damage, making it a solid choice as a secondary for both tanks and healers from the sounds of it. Progression in New World will also be changed quite a bit. You'll be able to level up your character to 65, gear score will now go up to item level.
I bet that flail is going to be overpowered as fuck at launch.
700, trade skills up to 250, and the devs are completely removing the expertise system, which means there's no tedious barrier to entry grind that new players will need to go through to get decent loot. The new zones will straight up drop gear that's 625 or higher, and the hardest...
Okay, so the problem with that is, so this is damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you lock away the content behind a gear score requirement to get there, you immediately invalidate new players coming into the game. But if they don't do that, now the players who come into the game who don't have that gear score have no reason to experience any of the older content. They're just going to rush straight for the newer shit because they're going to get 625 gear. Why would you go anywhere else if all the other gear is like 590 to 600 when you can go straight to the one singular new zone that's going to give you 625 gear, right? So that fucks over their old content for new content, which unless they update their old content with this, they're in trouble.
Content will drop the best gear, as it should. There's also going to be a new tier of faction gear, new faction questline, and a new rarity of gear called artifacts, which will need to be awakened via a questline to unlock up to 6 perks, with one of them apparently being playstyle defining, which is quite interesting.
Okay, that's interesting. My worry then with artifacts, let's just take a look at that hand here. So if the artifacts are playstyle defining, how many artifacts are there, and can you choose what certain perk you advantage with it? So like, I liked playing my fire mage. If I have to pick up an artifact that forces me to use certain abilities instead of the ones I want, that immediately means I'm forced to change my playstyle to what's in the meta in order to be competitive, meaning that everything else I do that doesn't have an artifact on it means I'm fucked. So I'm interested to see how they manage the perks.
Which is quite interesting.
Let's see what this one is. Plus 32 magnifier, highest attribute dex. Shrug off non-crowd controlling debuffs expire 20% faster. Attach a gem to add effect. Vigor, reduce the duration of burn bleed. Reduce the... Okay, so this one doesn't have very specific ability related perks, which is probably a good thing. But I hope there aren't specific things that do have... or they have perks, but they have perks you can either select, or there's like a super wide range, because if there isn't, then you're forced into meta play.
There's also going to be quite a few revamps to the game. The most important one in my opinion is the removal of Ward, Bane and Resilience stats on gear, which just wasn't...
Also, yes, Ilgi, people play this as a fantasy story RPG. There are so many people who just play this solo, play to the end, they do the dungeons as like temporary groups and stuff, and then they're gone.
Wasn't fun, and I'm so glad to see removed, as well as the main storylines of both Eden Grove and Great Cleave also being revamped. Aside from that, the expansion brings with it a new level 62 plus expedition, a new Heart Rune ability, a new season with events such as Night Vale Hallow and the Turkey Terror, as well as a bunch of other stuff. Overall, after revisiting New World...
What the hell is this? What the hell is this attack pattern that he's got going here? What the fuck is he doing?
For a bit to prepare for the new expansion, as well as looking into all the positive changes that will come with the expansion, I really think New World is heading firmly in the right direction, and I've actually had a decent time so far returning to the game. My main issue with New World is still that the movement and animation feels off.
It's heading in the right direction, but that doesn't mean it's there yet. Like, it's good, it's great, wonderful. I love the fact that they're keeping on advancing at it, but it's not there yet. It's not what it should be.
Sometimes, as well as the inconsistency with...
Also, none of this addresses the biggest problem, which is server size. They need to fix that.
The tax registering, and the game still not having swimming. But almost every other issue I've had with the game over the years has been resolved, and now with the addition of mounts, improvements to progression, large-scale groups and transmog, the game seems better now than ever, so I do think it's worth jumping back into for the new expansion, because even if you don't stick around long term, you'll likely get a few weeks of fun out of it at the very least. But that's it for this video. As always, let me know your thoughts on the current state of New World. Will you also be returning to the game for the new expansion? What else do you think the devs need to do to improve the game? Social media on screen, help us out with a like to appease the algorithm gods. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm not sure that this expansion justifies $30. I don't think this justifies $30. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a cynical fuck. I think that New World is moving in the right direction, but it's still ignoring its biggest problems. $30 for a few weeks of fun is not worth it at all. Well, I mean, okay, so... See, that's a hard one to say. Because, like, you pay $30 to go see a movie, and a movie is, like, a few hours, right? But gaming is, like, the most efficient conversion of money to entertainment, right? But I don't know if they can justify $30 for this expansion when it still doesn't address the primary fundamental issue of the server size, of the population issues that they've been having, that they're adding on all these new and wonderful things, and they're kind of like avoiding the bigger problems that this game has. I might still try it out so that I can make a video on it, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure that it would be worth your average person looking for a game to play. I'm not sure it would be worth their time.